Hi, my name is Andy Calms, and in this video I will be discussing a chapter from the book Whitespace is Not Your Enemy, A Beginner's Guide to Communicating Visually Through Graphic Web and Multimedia Design by Kim Golombisky and Rebecca Hagan. We are all sinners. The book points out 13 amateur layout sins. Making any of these mistakes pretty much advertises that you don't know what you're doing. Sin number 1. Things that blink incessantly. Don't animate your visuals to blink over and over. Set them to turn off after no more than 3 passes. For longer animations, run them once, then give it a rest. Keep animated repetition to a minimum. Sin number 2. Warped photos. If the aspect ratio of your photo doesn't fit your layout, don't drag the edges of the photo to make it fit. You must resize pictures in proportion to their original size and crop the excess that doesn't fit in the layout. Keep your photographs proportionate. Sin number 3. Naked photos. No, not that kind of naked. A naked photo is when you can't tell where the photo begins or ends because its color blends with the color of the screen or paper. It probably needs a border to mark its edges. If one photo in your layout needs a border, then give all of your photos the same border to be consistent. Use hairline rules to border photos that have ambiguous edges. Sin number 4. Bulky borders and boxes. Beginners tend to go border and box crazy in their layouts. Chunky borders and boxes are bad because they call attention to themselves. Usually you want to call attention to what's inside the border and not the border itself. You should use negative space to group or separate things, but if you must use a border or box, choose an understated one. Sin number 5. Cheated margins. In situations where you must have a border or box, don't be stingy with your margins. Margins inside a text box are called inset, while the margins outside are referred to as offset. Without inset and offset, your type will squish up against the box inside and out. Be generous with your margins. Sin number 6. Centering everything. According to the authors, amateurs tend to center everything smack dab in the middle of the layout. Centering creates visual flow issues. Left or right aligned layouts give the viewer's eye a nice straight vertical line to follow from top to bottom. Centered layouts have no such line, causing the eye to bounce around and search for the next entry point. Avoid centered layouts. Sin number 7. 4 corners and clutter. Another beginner's temptation is to fill up all 4 corners of the layout along with every other available bit of space. Whitespace is not your enemy. Rather than spreading your layout's content to fill every corner, clump visual information together that belongs together. Clutter, bad. Clumping, good. Sin number 8. Trapped negative space. Trapped space is a puddle of negative space landlocked inside of the layout. It's like a bubble that can't escape, and it draws attention away from other layout items. Push extra negative space to the outside edges of your layout. Sin number 9. Busy backgrounds. Don't turn your calming negative space background into busy, cluttered, eyeball-stabbing positive space that competes with your visuals and type. Backgrounds shouldn't interfere with your visual communication. Background shouldn't blink either, by the way. Sin number 10. Tacky type emphasis. The sin of tacky type emphasis refers to 4 risky behaviors: reversing, stroking, all caps, and underlining. Think twice before doing any of these things, and never do all 4 at once. Reversing. We are used to reading dark copy on a light background, thus reading a lot of reversed copy on a dark background may reduce readability or tire the eye. Don't reverse type unless you have a good reason to in a very short copy situation. If you do reverse type, choose a font with sufficiently thick letter forms to maintain legibility. Stroking. Amateurs add strokes to their type characters because they can, or because they think it makes an important word stand out. In truth, it distorts the typeface proportions and obscures original hairline strokes. It's like outlining the Mona Lisa with a big fat whiteboard marker. There are probably better ways to get people's attention. All caps. People read words, not letters. When you capitalize words, they lose their shapes and require readers to do a little extra decoding. If you use all caps in short copy situations, make sure it doesn't interfere with your visual communication purposes. and don't even think about using all caps for body copy. Underlining. Never underline text to emphasize it. And don't add extra exclamation points either. One is always enough. The combined effect of these tacky type emphasis sins isn't much different than walking around with toilet paper stuck to the bottom of your shoe.
How embarrassing.
Sin number 11. Bad bullets. Asterisks, hyphens, and smiley faces are not good choices for bullets. Decorative bullets can work if they match the tone of your design, but simple dots are almost always a good choice. Also, make sure your bullets line up vertically in the margin. Sin number 12. Widows and orphans. Typographic widows and orphans are lonely words or a hyphenated word stranded at the bottom or top of a column or leg of type. Train your eyes to spot visual awkwardness. Avoid inelegant breaks at the tops or bottoms of blocks of type. Sin number 13. Justified rivers. Fully justified blocks of type can result in wide gaps between words. This cuts down on readability by producing visually distracting rivers of white space flowing through your text. You can drain rivers of negative space by increasing the width of the column or reducing the font size. The author's recommendation on fully justified text is don't do it. Align your text left or right instead. Problem solved. Well, that covers all 13 layout offenses discussed in the book, White Space is Not Your Enemy. Now go forth and sin no more.